Hello, welcome to Snark Town. My name is Brian D. Meeks, and tonight we're going to continue with Underwood, Scotch, and Rye and see what Arthur's up to. Chapter 10. Arthur grabbed the phone and looked at the screen. He wasn't surprised. He slid the little bar and answered. I may not know much about this terrible thing you've made me buy, but I do know how to use it to tell time. Why would you be calling me at 7:38 a.m. on a Thursday? When chirped through the phone, I've already been running. It's a beautiful day out, and I thought an early start might be a good idea. Arthur sighed. I was having a delightful dream involving several Romanian contortionists doing things that are illegal in a number of highly regarded states. If you hang up now, I might be able to convince them to return to my land of Nod. We should get together and do some more work on Twitter. Arthur rolled onto his back. Out of his peripheral vision, he saw his house guest had decided the couch wasn't fluffy enough. He said, I've got errands to run. What errands? I'm out of eggs and coffee, and I was considering finding someone who might be willing to abduct and torture a small Asian woman I know who has wronged me. You'll be very happy to know that you have 83 followers. I'm not sure I'm willing to be their leader. Will I need a flag? Most of them are students, but a few, I think, are readers. Have you checked Twitter today? No. As I said, there were Romanians who were bendy and, well, you should check it now. If I promise to look at Twitter and marvel at my meteoric rise to the lofty ranks of high double digits, will you hang up? Do you think I should come over so that we can get to work? I think you should. No, I don't think you should come over. I'm hanging up now. I have stuff to do. You want my help? Having gone to bed early, Arthur didn't feel nearly as bad as he did most mornings. But he didn't want to encourage this sort of behavior, so he said, I'll be fine. You need to make sure that all the TAs run through their class lists. Find out who has signed up, and at noon, count the number of people they have followed within the class. I know. We've talked about how we're going to do it. Lawrence has a plan that should make it easy. That is excellent. Now I need to go. Okay, I'll talk to you later when you aren't such a grumpy pants. Fine, I'll be available late July 2019, he said. He thought he heard her giggle before she hung up. A tail smacked him on the forehead. Don't you start. Maltese purred. Arthur petted the furball and let the sting of morning subside. After 10 minutes of kitty time, he was ready to get started. 2 hours later, he was placing various feline sundry items in the Triumph. Sorry, I can't help but giggle. I'm a big fan of Maltese. Sometimes I put things in books just to make me happy. Let's try again. 2 hours later, he was placing various feline sundry items in the Triumph. Good deeds were not his way, but the cat seemed to bring a certain level of low-tech to his new high-tech world. He would feed the cat, and on occasion, the little furry mess would do something cute. It was a reasonable exchange of goods for services. His phone rang. Hello, he said, somewhat thankful it wasn't Wen. Dr. Byrne, how are you today? I'm fine. And you, Mary? I just wanted to ask that you stop in my office for a little chat after your class today. How did you get this number? I just got the phone. We need to discuss your antics yesterday. I'm afraid I have some very disturbing reports. Did you get them from when? Very disturbing reports. Your attitude reflects poorly on the school and on me as dean. Are you trying to embarrass me? One of the features I do like on this phone is... And he hung up on her. Arthur turned the key and was greeted with a feeble attempt at starting. Arthur turned the key and was greeted with a feeble attempt at starting. He shrugged and tried again. Nothing. Damn you, Karma. If I promise never to do anything nice again, will you please start the fucking car? Karma didn't respond. Arthur remembered what Wynne had said about the woman that lives in his phone. Asked Siri for a tow truck, and asked Siri for a tow truck. She suggested Dwayne's towing. This was a pretty short chapter, so I am boldly going on to chapter 11. Yes, it's 2 chapters for the price of 1. And that price is 0. Chapter 11. The shirt and truck both said Dwayne written on them. Arthur said, "You must be Dwayne." "Yes, sir," he said, looking at the car. "She's a beauty. What's the trouble?" "She is giving me grief. Women." Dwayne laughed. "You mind popping the hood?" "Not at all." Dwayne seemed to be giving his baby a good physical. Arthur knew less about the workings of a car than he did about the internet. Dwayne said, "I'm not sure, but one of the battery cables is a little loose." A few minutes later, he said, "Try it again." Arthur turned the key, and his charming little car struggled, then started. He got out and shook Dwayne's hand. "Thanks so much. I'm glad it wasn't anything serious." "No problem." "How much do I owe you?" "I was actually driving right past here, on the way to the shop, so your timing couldn't have been better. How does $10 sound?" "It sounds low. Let's say 20. Do you take plastic?" "Sure do. I don't think I've ever had anyone negotiate up," he said, looking at the card. "Are you any relation to the author?" "It depends on who you're thinking about." There's a writer, Arthur Byrne." "Then yes." "I picked up your book a few years back." "Nice job." "You're too kind." "You have something new coming out?" he asked, handing back the card. "No, now I mostly just teach. It is what one does when one forgets how to write." "I doubt you've forgotten. I bet you just have a loose battery cable." "Dwayne, you should be a writer. And thanks again." Maltese seemed interested in his return. 3 loud meows told Arthur that the cat wanted to investigate the food first. The toys could wait. While his guest dined, he set up a litter box in the back bedroom and put the scratching post under the table with his typewriter. He had been thinking about getting a plant for a few years. This was better. The cat squared away, Arthur headed to campus. It was too nice a day to drive, so he walked. He dreaded the meeting with Mary and decided he wasn't the least bit interested in her timetable. Her secretary said, "You're not expected until..." "Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition." And he blew past her, knocked twice, and entered. The dean was reading some reports and looked up. She removed the reading glasses from her beak and made a show of cleaning the lenses. She didn't invite him to sit. With a squint of derision, she said, "Our meeting isn't scheduled until..." I was in the neighborhood. Smelled baked goods and thought I'd check out the gingerbread house. I was told not to eat anything or..." He paused. "Well, rumor has it, the punishment is severe." "The only thing more grim than your sense of humor is the disgusting display you put on for your first day of class." I got an ovation. She shook several pieces of paper and said, I had a few people look on, and the overwhelming majority of the reports were negative. Shall I read you some of the comments? I'll wait until the cliff notes come out. I quote, he was sitting among the students and began ranting like a lunatic. Arthur started typing something on his phone. She tried to ignore his rudeness and continued. And then it was reported that you showed disregard for the scheduled class time by leaving early. What are you doing? Would you mind not texting? Well, we are having a discussion. I'm not texting. I'm tweeting. Then please stop tweeting. You can do that on your own. When one is using the hashtag. Arthur interrupted. Sorry, I blew that bit. Let's try again. I'm not texting. I'm tweeting. Mary said, then please stop tweeting. You can do that on your... Arthur interrupted. When one is using a hashtag, is $stick up ass spelled with 2 spaces or none? She stood, resisted the urge to yell, and with suppressed rage, I'll have you know that you are officially on probation, and Arthur stood. Oh, that is good news. I was afraid I might be on double secret probation. Well, if that is all, I've got dozens of tweets to go out. Hashtag HAG. He left. As he walked past the secretary, he said, I think she is on the cusp of a massive stroke. If I were you, I'd call someone. Or take an early lunch. Bon appetit. Arthur returned to his office, where he found Kurt waiting and asked, oh, sorry, my nose itch. I don't know if it's proper to itch a nose on camera. But you know what? This is my channel, and I like to play fast and loose with the rules. So, oh, goodness gracious. And I've lost my spot. As he walked past the secretary, yeah, we've done that bit. Arthur returned to his office, where he found Kurt waiting and asked, Good morning, Kurt. How are you? I'm well, thanks. How may I help you? I have a class at noon, and we are supposed to go through our students' Twitter accounts to figure out how many points they each got. Arthur shrugged. Do it afterwards. If there's an inquisition, I'll say you had a moment of temporary insanity. Kurt smiled and said, Okay, thanks. I didn't think it was a big deal, but I wanted to make sure. Have you looked at the numbers to see how they're doing? Kurt nodded. Yes. It looks like most of the students have followed everyone who followed you. But I'm only to count the people who are in the class, right? How many people do I have following me? Just over 130. But there are only 104 in the class, is that right? Arthur said, unsure. Yes, but you also have us TAs. And you've got some spammers and keyboard cat. I'm being followed by a musical cat? You don't know Keyboard Cat? Kurt asked, shocked. He's a YouTube sensation. Here, look. Kurt handed his phone to Arthur. He started to bob his head to the music. Is this the sort of thing you young people enjoy? It's awesome. Don't you like it? I laughed, I cried, I lost several IQ points, which is upsetting because I tend to prefer to spend those on drink. Whatever. I should probably spend some time surfing the World Wide Web. Dean Warmer. Arthur said, I should probably spend some time surfing the World Wide Web. Dean Warmer has it out for me. Who? Nobody. Don't you know Animal House? No, sorry. Was it by George Orwell? There was a long pause. Steve, it warmed my heart. Steve, it warmed my heart that you thought I was talking about a book. And admittedly, that was a good guess. If you like, I'll be happy to stop calling you Kurt. Literary references earn bonus points, for the record. All the TAs call me Kurt now. I've never had a nickname before. And it's sort of cool. I'll stick with Kurt. Fair enough. Kurt stood up and headed out. Arthur smiled to himself and opened a browser on his computer. It was time to embrace his reality. Well, that concludes Chapter 10 and 11 this evening. So you get a little bit of bonus entertainment. I hope you enjoyed that. We're starting to get into the story, and as I've been mentioning, the new chapters go up every day at noon. It is interesting that yesterday's chapter had more views than the day before. I don't know if people are just skipping ahead or if they've lost their place, but if you missed Chapter 8, go listen to it as well, or Chapter 9. See, even I've lost my place. So, that's all for this evening. Come back tomorrow for Chapter 12. Just doing some math there. Thank you much.